Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Donor-Centric Approach. This podcast is brought to you by MRP Donor Development, where we keep our donors at the center of everything we do, and by our friends and sponsors at Stellar Web Systems, the nonprofit tech solution. As always, I am your host, Orlando Barros, and today's episode is an interesting one because today's episode is all about perspective. Specifically, the perspective of those sitting on the other side of the fundraising table. So if you've ever wondered what donors, especially major donors, foundations, or high capacity individuals are really looking for when they consider supporting a nonprofit or a ministry like yours, this episode is specifically for you. Because over the years, I've had the privilege of working not just with nonprofits and ministries, but also with donors as well. And the goal of this episode is that I want to share with you some key insights that can help you, number one, strengthen your pitch and your ask. Number two, continue to strengthen and to build better relationships. And most importantly, increase the odds that your next ask, your next invitation actually leads to a yes. So, with all of this in mind, and without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start by discussing that disconnect that most nonprofits, most ministries do not see. Because here's what I've noticed. Nonprofits, ministries, and donors often talk past one another, like ships in the night. Nonprofits and ministries talk about programs, stats, and their needs. Funders, or major funders, donors, foundations, what they're looking for and what they're listening for is vision, credibility, and alignment of your mission with their own values. And that gap, right? That disconnect is one of the biggest reasons that even good organizations, good ministries do not get funded. So let's dive a little deeper and see how we can close this gap, this disconnect that exists. So what are the 5 things that major funders, major donors are looking for? What do they actually care about? And based on years of conversations, of reviews, of debriefs, here are 5 things that major donors and funders consistently care about. First and foremost, they care about clarity of vision. We talk about this all the time. Clarity creates unity. So it's not just what it is that you do, but where you're going and why that matters right now, why it matters today. Major funders, major donors want to feel like their gift is helping something take shape, that their support is helping your organization grow or scale at an accelerated rate, not just maintaining the status quo. So when we talk about major donors, we're for sure each and every time talking about how their gift is going to allow for us to grow and grow exponentially, right? Because those are the people that are going to really help you move your needle. So that's number 1, clarity of vision. Number 2, major funders and donors care about leadership. especially leadership that they can trust. We talk about this all the time, and I know that you've heard this before. People give to people. So major funders, major donors give to people just as much as they give to those really important missions they support. So as you try to seek those meetings and meet with them, are you prepared? Right? Are you responsive? Do you follow through? Are you humble enough to learn, but confident enough to lead? Are you in a position of leadership that is going to allow those major donors, those prospects, those major funders, those grant making organizations to trust you? They care about that. They want to trust you. Number 3, major funders and major donors care about real impact, not just numbers. You can say all day long that you're serving thousands upon thousands of people. But what they want to know is that, or what they really care about, is that they want evidence that your work actually is making a difference in people's lives. They want your work, or they want your stats, those numbers that you like to throw around. They want those to also feel human. Like there is someone at the end of that. There is someone in that number. So what you want to do to get to that point, to show the real impact, is to combine your metrics with real transformation stories. Show them the heartbeat behind the data. Put a real face of a real person behind those, or in front rather, of those numbers. People give to people, and they also want to know that at the end of the day, people's lives are being changed. Real people. So show them. Number 4, major funders and major donors care about financial health and transparency. I'm not saying that they're expecting perfection out of you, that everything's in order, right? What I am saying is that they do want and expect clarity on your end when it comes down to financial health. So what I mean by that is that major donors and major funders are looking for honesty about your needs. But also, they want you to be ready to show how you use the funds that you already have. So it's not about not showing the need, what that money can help you do, or where that money can help you go, but how are you using the funds that you already receiving, right? How are you maintaining the services that you're providing, and therefore using that as a foundation to go to the next level, to use their support to grow in a major way. And last but not least, major donors, major funders, they care about a thoughtful invitation to partner with you. They want your invitation and your ask to be tailored specifically to them. They don't want to feel cornered. But what they do want is that they want to feel invited into something meaningful to them, and that it was made specifically for them. They know that you're asking other people. They know that they are not the only ones being invited into your mission, but they do want to feel invited into something meaningful to them. So your ask, your invitation should really feel like an opportunity for them, not an obligation. At the end of the day, our job isn't to get the yes. Our job is to make the right invitations over and over and over again. And the more invitations that we make, the more likely, or the more yeses rather, we're going to receive. So that's what they care about, right? And if you already know these things, then why do you still see this gap, this disconnect between your mission and major donors and major funders? You may be falling into the top 3 common mistakes that ministries and nonprofits make when approaching major donors and major funders. The first mistake that I see them make is that we like to overload our major donors and major funders with information, right? A 15 to 20 page proposal that includes every single detail of your operations. If you didn't know this by now, please know that that's never going to get read. People skim through, and if they see a 15 pager, 20 pager, they're just going to leave it there and never read it. Right? Number 2, we sometimes go the opposite way and are too vague or too general in our approach and in our invitations. Saying that you help people, even saying that you help thousands of people, isn't enough. You need to be specific and you need to be bold. If you're going to ask for a $50,000 gift, be ready to explain to them why that one $50,000 gift is important and exactly what that $50,000 gift is going to do for you, your organization, and the people that you serve. The last most common mistake is that we tend to make it all about ourselves. Good fundraising, good fund development is a conversation, is a back and forth exchange of ideas, is showing the major donor, the major funder, what you're doing while also allowing them to chime in, while also asking them for their opinion, while also seeing in their faces, sort of those cues of how their body is reacting to what you're saying. And you see, if you see some positive sign saying things like, right? Or isn't that cool? Isn't that amazing? Right? You see it, right? Things like that to get the conversation going and flowing throughout your quote unquote presentation, right? Have a conversation with your major funders. Just don't sit there and talk about all the things that you do. So with all this in mind, let's talk about how to prepare for your next major ask, your next major invitation. So I'm just going to give you a quick 4-item checklist just to get you ready. First and foremost, and we do this with everyone that works with us, refine your case for support. And what I mean by that is, make sure that if you don't have one, if you haven't touched yours in a couple of years, that one, you make sure that you edit it so that it shows actual, and more updated numbers. Essentially, what I want you to do as you're refining it and maybe put it in a 1-pager, maybe a page and a half, is asking yourself this question as you're putting it together. Can you essentially explain what it is that you do and why what you do matters in 60 seconds or less. Number two, know your numbers. What is that funding gap, right? What is that amount of money that's going to take you from status quo to that next level? And if somebody makes a gift to close that gap or to help you close that gap, what would that specific gift help you unlock? Again, be specific. Do the math. Be ready. Well, this will be really good. But if you have, let's for lack of a better example, you're bringing $500,000 a year, but you know that if you were to bring 600,000, you can do so much more, right? So what is that specifically? What that extra $100,000? What is that going to allow you to do? And if you're coming to somebody to help you close that gap, and you're going to ask them for 25,000 or 30,000, what's that gift, that invitation that you're making of them specifically going to allow you to do? Right? Know your numbers. And while you're at it, third, have a story ready. Your organization, your mission, your ministry is changing lives each and every day. Some of those are being changed dramatically and powerfully and are breaking just life cycles forever. So when you come to meet with these people, with these major donors and major funders, bring a life changed into that room with you. Show that donor what their gift can do in terms of lives being changed. Tell them about John. Tell them about Jane, about Sarah, about Tim. Tell them because one, they want to know, and two, it just really strengthens your case. And last but not least on this checklist, be clear about what the next steps are. Know what you're asking for and what happens if they say yes or if they need time. Again, you can sort of relieve a lot of that pressure once you realize that it's not your job for them to say yes. That's their job. They want to say yes. That's why they came to the meeting. That's why they took the meeting with you. They want to say yes. Our job is to make a clear invitation of them, a clear ask, so that when they say yes, or when they say, give me a little bit of time, they know exactly what's at stake and you know exactly what your next steps are. So be clear and bring that to the table. Now, with all of that being said, what can you do to start putting some of these things into action? So what are some actionable steps that you can take this very week? Let's just go through some 4 really easy ones. 1, schedule a practice session, a role play session. Rehearse your next pitch, your next ask, your next invitation with a colleague of yours, with a staff member, or a board member. Set the scene and allow them to give you really good feedback. And the biggest reason why you want to do it with them, because they already know you. And if you're confident and don't feel pressured, you're going to come confident and less pressured into your next meeting. Number 2, update your case for support. Tighten it. Make it shorter, but make it bolder, clearer, but most importantly, more emotionally compelling, especially when you're talking or when you're using it to talk to major donors. You want them to connect with you emotionally, right? So pick one story, one powerful story of a life completely transformed, and add it to your case for support. Number 3, you can do this week. Reach out to one donor, one major funder, and ask for a conversation. Not a gift. I don't want you to ask for a gift just yet. Ask them why, if you don't know this already, why they care about your mission. What they specifically care about the things that you do. And if you haven't already, ask what they're looking for in a partner organization. Hint, hint, when you meet with prospects or when you meet with donors that are giving you at one level and you want to bring them to a much higher level, you're either going to ask the same questions, right? Why is it that you care about what we do? Or why is it that's important? And 2, what are you looking for when you partner with an organization? If you've asked this question, if you know these answers, use them when you're having that conversation with them. Again, it's all about tailoring that invitation specifically to them, right? And last but not least, start treating these major funders and major donors truly as partners, as collaborators, not just contributors, not just people who write checks. Bring them into the vision. Allow them to feel part of what you do. Give them an importance beyond the budget. Make them feel like true stakeholders of your organization. So if you've been hesitant to reach out to a major donor, to a foundation or a major funder, remember this. They are not looking for perfection. They're looking for you. Specifically, they're looking for you because they want vision. They want clarity, and they want a leader that they can trust. So when you show up and meet them, and you show up with purpose, you show up with preparation, and when you show up with humility, you're setting the table specifically to invite them into something meaningful beyond what you do, that can only be greater if the two forces combine. If this resonated with you, and if you got value out of today's episode, I would be honored and I would love it if you just subscribe to this podcast. Leave a review, or even just share it with someone in your network who you believe would benefit from what we talked about today. And as always, if this really resonated with you, and you really believe and want help in refining your pitch, I would be honored and I would love it if I could be of any help in supporting you. Our website is mrpdonordev.com, mrpdonordev.com. And our Calendly link is all over the website, so you can schedule your free strategy call there. I am incredibly humbled and incredibly honored that you continue to listen to what we have to offer. As always, I'm very, very grateful for you. Please Remember to keep your donors at the center of everything that you do, and you will see results. Thank you so much, and see you next time on the donor-centric approach. Take care. God bless. You're the best.